Good morning, everyone on Facebook and whoever looks at the playback on YouTube. Or I think we're live on YouTube, right? Okay, we're live on YouTube. Sorry. Get all that stuff all confused. Welcome. I'm Pastor Susan Samson. Thank you for joining us at House for Healing for the Nations. And we are so pleased that you have tuned in. Hopefully you'll sit back and have a good service with us and you'll get something out of what God has to say today. Now, if anybody would like to give tithes or anything like that, something should be coming across the screen right now. Feel free if you feel led to. There's no pressure or anything. It's only if you feel led to. Here at the home church, home base, I should say, everyone knows what y'all need to do, right? But just in case you don't know, there is all the information there on the screen. And if you don't know, you might want to see and talk to me later on, okay? Okay, so today is going to be a little different today. I am doing, I'm thinking it's at a 2 or 3 part. I'm still working it out. But we're going to talk about Samson. Now, if you notice, my name is Susan Samson, so therefore my last name derived from Samson, from the Bible. You know, Samson is an interesting individual. He went through so many different things, and I think that my family embodies all those things that he went through. But it was interesting to see the promise, walking out the promise being fulfilled. So today we are going to Judges 13, and we're doing the whole chapter. Judges 13. So when I asked God about this and he brought it to me, I was like, oh yeah, like we don't ever hear anybody really talk that much about Samson, you know? And when he brought it to me, I was like, oh, well, wow, that like never occurred to me. Hello, last name Samson. Didn't occur to me. And so he brought it up to me. But you know, everybody goes to Samson and Delilah, which was the fall of Samson because of a woman. We'll tackle that another day. But this is about right now, the promise to Samson. It was really the promise to Samson's mother and father. So we're going to start off with this and we're going to talk about it today a little bit, and then next week we'll dig a little deeper into Samson's life. So if everybody has Samson's 13, we're going to have Pastor Alana read off 13 for us.
All right, you said the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Everybody give Pastor Alana grace. She is pregnant.
Thank you for the grace. So sorry.
So she's a little tired all the time.
I was gonna say, I'm not bored, I promise. I'm just tired. The Israelites again did what was evil in the Lord's sight. So the Lord handed them over to the Philistines 40 years. There was a certain man from Zorah, from the family of Dan, whose name was Manoah. His wife was unable to conceive and had no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, although you are unable to conceive and have no children, you will conceive and give birth to a son. Now please be careful not to drink wine or beer, or to eat anything unclean, for indeed you will conceive and give birth to a son. You must never cut his hair, because the boy will be a Nazarite to God from birth, and he will begin to save Israel from the power of the Philistines. Then the woman went and told her husband, a man of God came to me. He looked like the awe-inspiring angel of God. I didn't ask him where he came from, and he didn't tell me his name. He said to me, you will conceive and give birth to a son. Therefore, do not drink wine or beer, and do not eat anything unclean, because the boy will be a Nazarite to God from birth until the day of his death. Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, please, Lord, let the man of God you sent come again to us and teach us what we should do for the boy who will be born. God listened to Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman. She was sitting in the field, and her husband Manoah was not with her. The woman ran quickly to her husband and told him, "The man who came to me the other day has just come back." So Manoah got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he asked, "Are you the man who spoke to my wife?" "I am," he said. Then Manoah asked, "When your words come true, what will be the boy's responsibilities and work?" The angel of the Lord answered Manoah, "Your wife needs to do everything I told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine or drink wine or beer, and she must not eat anything unclean. Your wife must do everything I have commanded her." "Please stay here," Manoah told him, "and we will prepare a young goat for you." The angel of the Lord said to him, "If I stay, I won't eat your food. But if you want to prepare a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord." Manoah did not know he was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah said to him, "What is your name, so that we may honor you when your words come true?" "Why do you ask my name?" the angel of the Lord asked him, "since it is beyond understanding." Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered them on a rock to the Lord, who did something miraculous while Manoah and his wife were watching. When the flame went up from the altar to the sky, the angel of the Lord went up in its flame. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell face down on the ground. The angel of the Lord did not appear again to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah realized that it was the angel of the Lord. "We're certainly going to die," he said to his wife, "because we have seen God." But his wife said to him, "If the Lord had intended to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted the burnt offering and the grain offering from us, and he would not have shown us all these things or spoken to us like this." So the woman gave birth to a son and named him Samson. The boy grew, and the Lord blessed him. Then the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him into the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Sure, that one.
Okay, so I know this is a long chapter, but there's a reason why I wanted to go over. There's a couple of things that I kept feeling that Jesus wanted me to point out, right? And so here it is. There's a promise that's being given to the mom, right? They don't mention her name in the Bible, just basically she's Manoah's wife, right? So I found this interesting because, of course, I went on a tangent with the promise and everything, in which I'm going to get to that. But there was something stirring inside of me that was bothering me about what I was reading. So I got past the promise part, but I said, okay, I got it, Lord. I'm going to talk about the promise, but there was something more. So he had me go back to it again. I think I must have, because I listen and read. So I listened to Judges 13 and read it. I can't even tell you how many times. And I can't even tell you how many translations. I think I went through something like 6 different translations. Okay. And I was like, what is it that's bothering me about all of this? What is it that seems to be gnawing at me? It's not only about the promise. It was something that went on with Manoah and said, "Angel of the Lord." The angel of the Lord is Jesus, okay? But he had not come yet, right? So he had not come yet. To even go into that explanation, it's like, okay, he had not come yet. He's angel of the Lord, we leave it at that. It's part of God. That's it, right? But what I kept coming back to was the part in 6, where that in verse 6, it says, "Then the woman went and told her husband," right? "A man of God came to me." So he came in a physical form like a man, right? But yet it says, the next sentence says, "He looked like an awe-inspiring angel of the Lord." So she recognized that there was something different about this man. You see, he wasn't just simply a prophet that came to him, because normally when they refer to, when they say man of God, they generally are talking about prophets, right? It wasn't just a prophet. She said there was something that was awe-inspiring angel of God. So that means she saw something. She wasn't sure what she was seeing, but she knows she saw something different. So then she goes and tells her husband, right? So it drops down and it talks about the husband heard what she said. Now, mind you, the angel already told her that you can't cut the little boy's hair. Mind you, he told her she's having a boy. You can't cut his hair. He's being dedicated from the womb. She can't drink beer. She can't drink wine. She can't do this. She got her list of stuff, right? But what I kept coming back to is Manoah went ahead and he prayed and asked the Lord to send back the man of God. Now it sounds real good, right? Because he said here, send him back so he can teach us what we should do with the boy when he's born. So really, Manoah just really wanted to know, hey, so I understand that you told my wife that this is the things that we got to do while he's in the womb, but what happens when he comes out? What do we do with him? What is the plan that you have for him? What is that? And that thing just got to me, and when I say it annoyed me, it got to me, and I was like, what is bothering me about this? And I'm sitting there and I'm going through it, and there it is. The angel of the Lord came upon Manoah again. And then I realized something. Manoah did not recognize the awe about him that he was the angel of the Lord. When he finally saw him, he did not recognize, the wife recognized that there was something different. He just recognized him to be a man of God. Because the wife told him, this is the same man that came to me. It's not because he saw it for himself. How many times that God is sending things in your life and you don't see it, but it is of God. But because it doesn't match what you think it should look like, you don't pay it any mind and you minimize it. So I was like, so that's what's getting me out. Turn me up. Well, guess what? It kept on going. So I'm reading this and I'm just reading this. And then, so the man turns around and says, well, can you tell me what to do? Blah, blah, blah. So what does the angel of the Lord do? He turns around and repeats what he already said. And he told them, this is what I said to your wife. And he listed all the things again. He didn't give him any more information, even though he was asking for more information. He did not give him any more. He basically just reiterated what he said, and that was it. So Manoah's next words were, please stay here. And then he tells him, so he's trying to detain him. And he's inviting him that he's going to basically sacrifice a goat and, prepare. So let's think about this. So the man of the God comes to you and you basically say, listen, have a seat. I'll cook for you, right? Well, what chat? Because obviously he didn't give me the information I want to hear. So why don't you stay and give you honor and everything else? By the way, what's your name? Because that's what it says in verse 17. It says, then Manoah said, what is your name? So that I may honor you when your words come true. Well, that looks innocent enough, right? Well, I went ahead and I did this research, and I found in one of the Bibles that I was reading, it said in verse 18, it says, the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, why do you ask my name? Well, that tells me something is fishy. Listen to me. When God asks you a question that you know he already knows the answer to, there's something else going on here. Right? So now I'm saying, okay, so what's up? Why would God ask the same question? Why would the angel of the Lord ask the same question that he already knows? Why did he ask him? What's up? Why is there an issue with the name? And the angel responded. The angel of the Lord asked him, no, I'm sorry. It says, why do you ask my name? The angel of the Lord asked him, since it is wonderful, meaning it is too much for you to even understand. Why are you asking that? So in the other Bibles, this is what I got from one of the Bibles, and I found this pretty interesting. It said, why did the angel keep his name a secret? In those days, people believed that if you knew someone's name, you knew his character and how you can control him.
Wow.
I sat there, I said,
Wow.
are you kidding me? But think about it. In those days, just think about it. Have you ever met people that really nosy? Or they want to know a little bit more about you? They'll say, come, let's sit down and have a talk. I know it's happened to me. I've had people invite me places. I've had people say, you and I need to sit down and talk so I can get to know you. And I always walk away feeling, do they really want to get to know me? And then when we sit and talk, it's not that. They're trying to figure out who I am so they can control certain things that are going on with me. New words, manipulate. How's that? I stood there and I was like, so he thought he was a mere man, that he could just manipulate. What was going on in Manoah blinded him to the awe that was standing in front of him, which was the angel of God. Sometimes when you got something going on and you got other motives, it blinds you to truth that God has in front of you. And you don't even see what God is trying to do for you because your motives are not clean. There's something else going on inside of you. So the part that I read in the Bible, when it was given the breakdown of it, it also said, by not giving his name, the angel was not allowing him to be controlled by Manoah. And he was also saying that his name was a mystery beyond understanding and too wonderful to imagine. Jesus had not come yet. He can't give a name because you're not going to understand the Trinity. They don't understand that. At that part, it was not comprehending that. Nobody understood about anything like that. So you're asking things that's beyond your understanding. And he's not even asking really for him to understand, because I found it interesting that Manoah asked God for the angel of the Lord to come and let him talk to him, but yet the angel of the Lord went back to the wife. He went to the one who understands versus the one who does not understand. Manoah asked. He did not show up to him. The wife had to go get the husband and bring him back. God could have approached him in the fields, but he did not. There's a statement that's being made there. You can't control me. How many times we think we can control God? And we don't want to admit that, right? But when we try to be like, oh, so you said that this is going to happen, but how is it going to happen? Well, so maybe it should happen this way. Maybe it should happen that way. Why can't we just take face value that God said is going to happen and that's it? Now, I must admit, I'm guilty of those things as well. There's sometimes I'm like, I need more information here. You want me to walk into what and do what? And I need more information here. So how about this? How about this? And he won't answer me. I said, okay. I know what that means. I'm just going to go. Sometimes we ask God something that we're not ready to understand. And the reason why God is not answering us, it's not because he doesn't want to, but it's because we're beyond understanding. When I was a young girl, I always asked God, what am I going to be? Who am I? What am I? And I asked, what am I? Because I knew I was different and unusual. I knew I saw things that weren't like everybody else. You know, when you see spirits and things like that, you tend to ask questions like, why? You know, as you have the covers over your head, screaming, can you get them away? Can you get them away? In Jesus' name, get them away. You ask questions. So I've always asked questions. You know what I always got? I've had different encounters with different people that God will send to me and tell me that I have a huge destiny ahead of me, but they don't give details. And one day I said, okay, that's great, but I hear that all the time. What else is, you got anything else? I was 16 years old. I was a little different at 16. I heard this one lady, she said this to me, and I said, listen, I hear that a lot. You got anything else for me? Because what does that mean? She said, don't worry, you'll find out. When I was 22, I had somebody tell me the same thing. This time, God gave me a little bit more. He let me see it. He let me see what that person was seeing. I still didn't understand what that meant. I wasn't ready yet. Do you think the girl of 16 that was living in Brooklyn, New York, the girl of 22 that was living in Brooklyn, New York, do you think if you told her, you're going to grow up and you're going to go ahead and be a pastor and run a church, you're going to do deliverance, you're going to walk into people's lives, you're going to deal with demonic activity, you're going to go ahead and pray things out, you're going to go ahead and do all these things, you're going to go to the nations, you're going to go ahead and preach. You think that girl is 16 going to be like, yes, I will? No, that girl is 16 will say, oh no, okay? You're out of your mind. That girl of 22 would have said, listen, I'm just trying to get through being pregnant. Okay? With twins. And you're going to tell me all that? You need to just, listen, nobody asked you for all that. You just need to slow down. And no, I don't want to hear all that. I wouldn't have turned around. And let me tell you something. I did love the Lord. I didn't grow up in church, but I loved the Lord. And I wanted to serve the Lord. You think if anybody was to tell me all that, especially throwing in demonic activity, you think I'm going to turn around and be like, oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Yes, I'm going to go into homes and pray out demons and talk to people and do deliverance and see all kinds of different things. And I'm going to tell you, I have some stories. Okay? You think if somebody was to tell me that back then, you think I would have been okay with it? I wouldn't have. I'll be very honest. I know me. I would have run for the hills, knowing that I can't run, but I would try. I would. And I'm just being honest. There are times when I hear people say this to me, I don't know what my gifts are. Deep in my heart, I want to say to them, don't be in a rush, okay? Because once you know them, then you got to do it, okay? Don't be in a rush. Relax. I want to say that, but I tell them, I said, listen, it's all in God's timing. And it is in God's timing. God tells us what we need to know when we need to know it. I always tell people that. I know what I need to know when I need to know it. And so do you. You have to put your heart in a position to want to know. You have to put it in your heart to be open to what he's going to say. There are times when he'll say something to me and I'm like, mm-mm. I said, mm-mm. And he said, Susan, I said, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. He goes, this is what I want you to do. Okay. Like my grandson says, okay. Yeah, I have to, there's an inner child that comes out when the Father comes. That inner child is the child that sits on his lap and says, Father, I will do anything you ask. And when he says, Susan, after I say, mm-mm, and I say, okay, it's that little girl that says, yes, Father. I'm here to tell you, I had to grow to that. It had to be developed. Because the other Susan that wasn't that delivered or developed would have said, oh, I don't know who you are. No, you're not talking to me because you got to be something else. Okay, because you got the wrong person, just letting you know. First of all, you haven't seen my resume. I'm not qualified. Because that's the first thing I would have said. I'm not qualified. The second thing I would have said to God, if he was to tell me all that, is that I would have said, who are you? Because I don't think this is Jesus, right? And I would have, because I've been in question. Then the third thing I would have said was this. Obviously, you haven't seen the sin that I've done. Obviously, you haven't seen, and I'm going to be very honest, I would have said, you haven't seen the crap I've done. I wouldn't have understood. Do you understand? I wouldn't have been ready. God has to give us what we need when we're ready for it. So it continues to say this. Manoah asked the angel for an answer that he would not have understood. Sometimes we ask God questions and receive no answers. This may not be because God is saying no. We have to ask for the knowledge beyond our ability to understand or accept. So when you're asking questions of God, you need to ask God to help you with your knowledge. You need to ask God, Lord, just in case this is a very, a loaded question, can you give me the ability to understand and accept what you're about to say about the question that I'm asking you to do for me? Sometimes we think we do, but we don't. One day I said to God, I saw this man. I said, I want a husband like him. I want a husband like him. Sometimes we use people as role models and say we want a husband like that, right? Well, God said, are you sure? I said, oh, wait a minute. When God says to you, are you sure? You put a halt. Okay? You're like, oh, wait a minute. Why did you ask me, am I sure? He goes, Susan, do you know what you're asking for? I said, I'm asking for a husband. But I said like that because he was being so nice to the wife. He ordered a massage table. I love massages. And he ordered a massage table and he was going to give his wife a massage. And I thought this was great. I want a husband that can do that. And God said, but you don't know the full story of who that person is. You're asking for something that you don't know the full story of. You see, you're looking at one area. Do you know why he's doing it? I'm assuming because he loves her and he knows that she likes massages. He goes, there's something else that's driving him to do it. And you don't know about it. So then I was like, okay. I still didn't understand what was going on. Weeks, months went by. And God is so good because he can tell you some information and just do pause, just to let it sink in. Because I didn't understand. Months went by and we happened to get into a conversation. Not me and God, but me and this person. And it was the wife and him. And eventually he went away somewhere and then her and I were just talking. And so she admitted to me that he cheated on her. I said, what? Well, I was shocked, because, he got a massage table and everything, In my mind, I'm thinking this guy is probably great. Just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean it's good. So I went ahead and I was just like, he did what? I was in total shock. He didn't just cheat once, he cheated twice. And I was like, and one of them was with her best friend. I said, oh, God. Okay. And then instantly I heard God say, do you still want a husband like that? While she's talking to me, I'm like, I know she must have thought something was wrong with me, but I was like, And she goes, you all right? I said, oh, I'm fine. I'm just like a little flabbergasted what he did. Because I'm telling Jesus, no. When I got home, sweetheart, I went ahead and I said, Jesus, I rebuke me. Okay? I do. I rebuke me. Give me what I need. Give me what you want from me. He said, that's right. You asked for what's what I have ordained for you in your life, not what somebody else has. You do not look at what somebody else has and think that that's what is needed for you. I learned a very good lesson that day. He knew it was out of innocence. He knew I wasn't jealous or anything. I just like, oh, I like that quality. But he taught me a valuable lesson. So I don't say that anymore. So if I see a husband doing something nice, that's great. God bless you. That is wonderful. Lord, you know what my husband needs to do for me. I don't say anything about I want one of those. No, you keep that. You can keep that. I'm being very serious. You can keep it. Because I learned. Now, this guy, Manoah, he seemed like a nice person on paper. I don't know him personally. The Bible doesn't talk that much about him until we get into the next thing next week. But I do know this. There's a reason why God does things. And there was a reason why he did not answer Manoah. There was a reason why he wasn't accepting of what Manoah was saying. And he reiterated certain things. There was a reason why for everything. So here it is. They went ahead. And so instead, the angel of the Lord said, listen, instead of doing all that, why don't you just go ahead and do a burnt offering to the Lord? Right? So he did a burnt offering. And then, so this is what happened. He did the burnt offering, and then the angel went up and then went straight. So he got to see that that was an angel. It wasn't just a mere man. He got to see it was the angel of the Lord. And instantly he was convicted because he knew what he was doing. Because you know how you know he was being convicted? How his guilt rised up? He said, we will surely die because we saw him. No. You knew now what you were dealing with. Now you're saying, oh God, it's God. That's what you're saying, right? Again, it is the wife that has to bring him back to reality. He's not going to kill us. We're not going to die. Why would he, after giving us all the instructions about the baby that's coming and what to do? But you see, sometimes we get caught up in ourselves and then we find out, whoa, we just got busted. We just got caught. So now we're just like, oh my goodness, we saw the face of God. We're going to be in trouble now. And that's it. You look at the fear now. He didn't even look at the promise. He looked at the fear. The fear spoke more than the promise did. You know, before he was really good. So when all this happens, let me know your name so I can give honor to you. Now it's, oh my God, we're going to die. You know? What happened? Because the fear now is talking. Because you know what you were doing. You know, realize now, oh my goodness, I'm dealing with Jesus. Well, not Jesus, but you know, at the time, they didn't know who Jesus was yet. But they know now you're dealing with God. Right? You're dealing with a form of God. And now he realized that he is in some mega problems here. But he forgot the promise. Does that happen to you sometimes? When you look around and you see certain things that you forget the promise? Has God made a promise to you? That because it's taking a little longer than what you think, that maybe it's not going to happen? I'm here to tell you that the promise is going to be there. The promise, once God makes a promise to you, he does not renege on the promise. He spoke. Now this really hit me hard, because he told the wife what is going to happen, right? And he told her, you're barren, you don't have children, but you will. You're going to have a child. It's going to be a boy. You know what he did at that moment? He spoke it out of his mouth. And he spoke it to her womb. That means something to me because of Pastor Alana. He spoke it out of his mouth and he spoke it to her womb. She wasn't supposed to get pregnant. She wasn't supposed to be able to conceive, but God spoke it out of his mouth and spoke it to the womb. You cannot stop when God speaks something out of his mouth. You can alter it. You can try and do all those different things, but God still has a way of making things happen, even in spite of us. We can change a course, but that doesn't mean that God is finished. He can go in a different direction and probably use somebody else, but he can go in a different direction. He spoke to the womb. The womb was closed, and the minute he spoke, the womb was open. That's intense. I sat there and I really thought about that. I was like, wow, he spoke. Do you know that things that happen in this world is because the good things? I'm not talking about the bad things. I'm talking about the good things. There are things, the promises. The world was created from a spoke. He spoke it. Let there be light, light. Let there be land, land. Let there be animals, animals. He spoke it. He spoke you. So one day I had an encounter with God. So I never liked my name Susan, because I'm one of these people, I don't like everybody having the same thing I have. I'm weird like that. I don't know. When I was in school, there was like 3 Susans. And I'm no offense, but all the Susans were white. I'm not white, just in case you didn't know. My name is unusual even in the West Indian world. In my culture, we don't have Susans like that. So I didn't like my name because, first of all, I don't think I found a West Indian that can say my name correctly. They all call me Suzanne. That's not my name. My name is Susan. They all, including my own father, Suzanne. I'm like, Susan, my God, why? It doesn't matter. You can be from Jamaica, they can be from Trinidad. Then they hear my name, Susan. They say Suzanne? No, Susan. Why? You don't hear nothing. You don't hear Zan. You hear Susan. So I didn't like my name, and I really did not. I did not like my name, and I told God, why did my mother name me this? My father didn't even know why my mother named me this, right? My mother heard something from somewhere, I don't even know where, but it just came to her about my name. And she heard it, and she knew that that was supposed to be my name. And I had this encounter with Jesus. And it was it was huge for me. He says, I don't want you to dislike your name. Your name is derived from someone who followed me. I didn't even know that. Well, in the Bible, I believe it's Luke 8, it talks about these 3 women that followed Jesus. And one of them, her name was Susanna. And Susan derives from Susanna. And I've always thought of myself as a disciple of Jesus Christ. I always did. Well, she was considered one. She followed, they fed him, they gave him whatever it is he needed, right? And I was like, oh, really? Now, this is before I even read it. He told me. He said, it's in the Bible. Your name derived from there. And he said, there's another reason why you should not despise your name. And I said, well, what is it? Now, I'm in this place. I believe it's in heaven. He took me up into heaven. And Jesus is right here, and he's talking to me. And he had me look beyond him, and back of him. And I can't see everything was going on, but this is what I saw. Susan. And the essence of me came out from this mist, which was In my interpretation, the Almighty himself. And I just saw this forming going on. And he said, Susan. And in there, I saw him speak my name and everything that he had a purpose for me. And then Jesus looked at me. I mean, I was like on my face, on my knees, and I'm looking like over him, and I'm seeing this. And then my eyes went down to Jesus and looked at Jesus, and he said, you see, we spoke you out. Do not despise what has been spoken out. And I realized at that moment that when God said my name, my mother, who's not from this country, my father was confused. That is not a name in our culture. You do not hear Susan in the Caribbean culture. I'm sorry, but no matter where you go, you don't. Right? But especially back then. Now you might, but back then, no. And there it is. He fought with her. And she said, no, this is her name. In America, it belongs to a lot of white people. Just saying. Okay? Yesterday, I met somebody who was Mexican, and she had a name Susan. I was absolutely floored. I was like, she's Mexican. And she has a name of Susan. That is incredible. It's the first time. Generally, they're white. She also had the same birth date as me, which was pretty incredible, too. When God intervenes and speaks out something, my mother doesn't even realize that God is the one that put that in her to speak out my name. And Susan was going to be born to do some things for him. Mother has no idea. Believe me, my mother still doesn't have any idea. Don't despise things that God has spoken out of his mouth. Yes. Don't doubt the things that God has spoken out of his mouth. When God makes you a promise, that means it was spoken out of his mouth. That means it is done. It is finished. It has happened in the heavens, and all you have to do is wait for it to manifest on earth. But it first starts up there with him in the heavens. We have to learn to see what God is showing us in due time, not before our time. What is your destiny? What is your promise? You may not know right now. You can ask God and wait. Don't pressure him. Don't try to manipulate him. Don't try to control him to tell you instantly. You wait. When God sees fit, when you are in a place to understand, you will go ahead and be told. But this is the thing. Sometimes you need to go through some things like deliverance in order for you to understand what he has for you. He's going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff and you're not ready for it. I had to go through some deliverance first before I can even be able to get it through my head about what he wanted me to do. I had to shred all of my past. I had to shred the anger. I had to get delivered, ripped out, pulled out, thrown aside in order for me to even grasp what he was saying about my future. Whatever looks impossible is possible. Listen, I'm a person that's been promised a lot of different things, and I've seen a lot of it come out, and I'm still waiting some more for some other things, but a lot of things, I am a walking miracle itself. According to the doctors, I should have been long gone by now. But yet I'm still here. According to the doctors, I'm supposed to be getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker, but I'm not. I'm still here. Sometimes we look at the natural and listen to the doctors and believe the report of the humans, but we have to believe the report of the Lord. And we have to look at what he sees, which is there is a promise that has been spoken out of his mouth. That's all we need to know. We don't even need to know the details. All we need to know is that there's a promise. Okay? And there is a promise on everyone. Whatever your promise is, I don't know. You can have a promise to be married. You can have a promise to go out and become an evangelist, whatever it is. Or you could simply have a promise to be a mom. And let me tell you, that is one of the biggest jobs ever. You're responsible for another person's life. You're responsible for pouring into another person and helping them become all that they can be, so that way they can go ahead and live out their destiny that God spoke into them. You know, I looked up the word Nazarite, and it said to abstain from and to consecrate yourself to oneself to. Okay, so to abstain and to consecrate oneself to. Abstain, no alcohol, no this, no that, and no cutting of your hair. That's what Nazarite means. That's what Nazarite means, to dedicate yourself when it comes to God. The mother agreed to become a Nazarite because that's what she had to become. She had to become something so her child in her womb could be dedicated to that. Do you understand? She had to change her lifestyle.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to change your lifestyle for your promise. Sometimes you have to change the way you think, your mindset, for your promise to be fulfilled. You have no idea what is in store for you. But you do know this, that there is a promise. And the promise needs to be able to come forth with a changed heart and a changed mind. And she did. She dedicated herself to becoming a Nazarite in order for her to have her promise be fulfilled. That's huge. That is huge. You know, back in those days, they had wine. Now, some translations say they have beer too. I didn't know they had beer back then. I thought they all had was wine. But some translations, like, you know, after I looked up like 7 different translations, some of them said beer. I was like, wow, they had beer? You know, that's like huge. I was like, that's like cool. You know what I mean? I mean, not cool, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So they had a form of beer, and if you think about it, it's a fermenting and, you know, things like that. So obviously they probably figured it out. She was also instructed not to eat any grapes or raisins because all those things can ferment. So she had to go under strict things. So you have to think about it back then. She didn't have soda to resort to. She didn't have like juice. Juice was the wine, right? She didn't have anything, so she probably only had to drink water. She didn't have a little flavor. You know, everybody's at the party, everybody having a great time, everybody want to drink a little wine. She can't drink any. Everybody else is drinking wine, but she can't. She probably didn't cut her hair neither, so she just left it alone, let it grow. See, she consecrated herself to God so her promise can be fulfilled. She changed. How many of us have to change? How many of us have to change our mindsets, have to change the way we are just so this promise can be fulfilled. So as we close out, I want you to keep this in mind. When you sit with God, stop putting stipulations on him. Stop trying to blackmail him. I understand it doesn't look like blackmail, but it is. If you do this for me, I'll do that for you. That's blackmail, okay? It is, it's blackmail. If you do this for me, I'll do this for you. Scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I don't care how you want to say it. Stop trying to control him. Stop trying to manipulate the situation so you can get more information. Instead, you should turn around and say, let thy will be done. Father, you have spoken some things into my life. I have a destiny. Please help me to understand the destiny. Give me the knowledge to understand and to accept. You ask God these things. Do not give him ultimatums. It's not going to work. I've tried. Oh, I have. I'll do funny story. And he knows I was joking at the time. I love mangoes. I was a little girl. If I could eat a whole mango tree. And I'm going to end off with this. But I went ahead and I ate mangoes, and it makes me go to the bathroom, right? But I get like sharp pains. And each time I'll tell God, I won't. Listen, I'm done. No more. Take away the pain. And then inside of me, I'm like, but I'll just have one more. Okay, just one more. Right? After I'm finished, everything is done, I'm out of pain. Well, the mango's sitting there. Oh, come on, it's just one more. One more turns into two more. And I said to myself, I'm going to stop saying that because it doesn't work. Stop trying to bargain with God. If somebody is ill or dying, don't bargain with him. Don't. Be honest with him and tell him how you feel. Tell them that you don't want the person to die and you don't want to be without the person. But accept his answer. And his answer might be, yes, I will heal them. God's answer will always be, yes, I will heal that person. It is about how they get healed, whether they're healed on earth or they're healed in heaven. You see, when somebody dies, they are healed. Yes. When he takes them home, they are healed. And sometimes we don't understand that, but you have to accept what God says. He knows better. So you all have a wonderful week and take care. And I'm going to close off in prayer. So Father, we thank you for this word. Help everyone that listens to this word, Lord. Help it sink into their soul, into their hearts, into their minds, Father, that they stand up and they stand with you. Even if they don't understand the way it looks, let them stand with you. I pray that everybody heard, Lord, to change their mindset and their heart. I pray that they heard to be in a place with you, to understand their destiny means they have to change. Father, I thank you for this moment. I thank you for this time. I thank you that you spoke this into my life. Father, I bless all those that are listening right now. I bless them right now in Jesus' name. And I thank you and I love you, Jesus, in your most magnificent name. In Jesus' loving, sweet, kind name. Amen. Have a wonderful week. Again, take care. Thank you for joining us, House for Healing for the Nation. Bye-bye.